Oprah looked her straight in the eye and said, "Are you really a leader, or just another headline?" What Karoline did next left the whole room speechless. When Oprah put her on the spot, no one expected that answer. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This isn't just a leadership challenge. It's the beginning of something far bigger. It was a bright summer day in New York City. Inside a packed community center, sunlight filtered through high windows, casting soft patterns on polished wooden benches. The air smelled faintly of coffee and fresh-cut flowers. Standing at the front, Oprah Winfrey wore a deep purple blazer, poised, powerful, and piercing. "Ms. Leavitt," she said, placing a heavy report on the table beside her, "do your policies actually empower communities, or are they just promises?" The room hushed. A local activist clutched her notebook tighter. Karoline Leavitt, in a simple light blue blouse, stood calmly across from her. Her hands were still. Her eyes didn't flinch. "Ms. Winfrey," she said in a steady voice, "to me, leadership means action, not applause." Oprah narrowed her eyes. "Action?" she echoed. "There's still poverty, still gaps. Where is the impact?" Whispers rippled through the audience. A mother murmured, "She's not wrong." Karoline nodded respectfully. "May I show you the plan?" She opened a folder. One sheet, one chart, one vision. At that moment, the room leaned in, not for a speech, but for a possibility. And Oprah? She didn't blink. Was this a test Karoline would pass, or the beginning of Oprah's most unexpected lesson yet? The room was still, the kind of silence that holds its breath. Karoline unfolded her plan with quiet confidence. No dramatic gestures, no raised voice, just clarity. "Ms. Winfrey," she began, "this is the Community Empowerment Network." Behind her, a screen lit up. Maps, flowcharts, real-life photos, not models, pilots already in motion. It connects underserved neighborhoods to job training, microloans, and local mentorship hubs, Karoline continued, run by the people from those communities, not outsiders. A ripple moved through the crowd. A volunteer leaned in. This is real," she whispered. Oprah stared at the screen. How would it scale? Karoline didn't blink. "We start with 5 cities this quarter. Funding's locked. Local leaders recruited. Metrics public." The audience murmured. A teenager pulled out his phone and started recording. Oprah crossed her arms. Her voice softened, just slightly. "And you're launching this now?" Karoline nodded. "Pilot launches this month, in the Bronx." Someone gasped. Then, applause. One mother stood, holding her child's report card. "This gives us hope." Karoline smiled. "Empowerment isn't top-down. It's hand-in-hand." Oprah glanced at the report again, her fingers resting gently on the page. "This is bold," she said quietly. And in that moment, the crowd didn't just see a young leader. They saw a shift. Was this just a response to criticism, or the start of a ripple that could reach every block, every family? The applause had faded, but something heavier filled the air, a shared sense of possibility. Oprah Winfrey stood motionless. One hand rested on Karoline's open folder, her eyes scanning the plan once more. Then, slowly, she looked up. "Ms. Leavitt," her voice wavered just slightly, "I may have misjudged you." Gasps echoed through the room. A community leader in the second row whispered, "She said it." Karoline nodded, calm and gracious. "Thank you, Ms. Winfrey," she said. "But words aren't enough." Oprah raised an eyebrow. "Then what do you suggest?" Karoline stepped forward, not to boast, but to build. "Let's create something bigger," she said. "Let's launch a community empowerment wave, a national network built on opportunity, dignity, and ownership." The crowd rose to its feet. X lit up. Oprah and Karoline just changed the game. Empowerment. Wave. Oprah smiled. "And who leads this?" Karoline looked directly at her. "We do. Together." For the first time that day, Oprah laughed. "I'm in." They shook hands. A young girl near the front raised her hand-painted sign. "Opportunity for everyone." But beyond the claps and hashtags, something deeper echoed in the walls of that old community hall. Was this the moment change truly began? Or just the spark that would light 1,000 more? 3 weeks later, the streets of New York pulsed with orange banners. Empowerment Wave trended across every platform. In Harlem, the first community summit was underway. Fold-out chairs filled the block, food trucks lined the streets, and in the center, a stage made of reclaimed wood, where voices rang out louder than any speaker. Karoline Leavitt stood center stage in a denim jacket, microphone in one hand, coffee in the other. "This movement belongs to you," she said, "and thanks to Oprah, it's just getting started." The crowd roared. A single mom held up her certificate from the new job training program. "I start Monday!" X exploded. "She just got hired because of this wave." Karoline speaks. Oprah backs. Lev's change. From a nearby rooftop, Oprah Winfrey was doing a live interview. "Karoline's plan challenged me," she said, "but it also reminded me why I started." Her voice cracked slightly. "This is about unlocking doors, not controlling who walks through them." Volunteers handed out starter kits, micro-loan applications, mentorship matches, access to childcare support. In the crowd, a teenage girl tweeted a photo of her little brother holding a tablet. He just found his place in the world. Karoline smiled from the stage, scrolling the same tweet. But in the echo of chants and cheers, one question began to rise in every heart watching online. Is this a passing wave, or the tide that lifts all of us? Months passed, but the momentum didn't fade. Instead, the empowerment wave became a national platform, spanning 27 cities, 1.2 million lives, and a whole new blueprint for local leadership. Inside a sunlit community center in Atlanta, the air smelled like coffee and fresh printed paper. Laughter echoed through training rooms. Posters lined the walls. Lead from where you stand. On stage, Oprah Winfrey wore a bold purple blazer. Her eyes sparkled. "Karoline," she said to her co-leader, "this is extraordinary." Karoline, in a simple cream top, checked her tablet. "And it's just the beginning." Behind them, screens displayed real stats. 230,000 new job certifications, 14,000 microloans distributed, over 600,000 families impacted. A teenage boy in the crowd shouted, "Oprah, you're awesome!" The room erupted in applause. Karoline leaned into the mic. "This isn't about parties or titles. It's about building something that belongs to everyone." X lit up again. Oprah and Karoline deliver change without politics. Wave of hope. Target. Empowerment. Wave backstage, Oprah turned to Karoline. "You took my challenge," she said softly. Karoline smiled. "And you turned it into a revolution." They bumped fists, not as icons, but as teammates. But as the crowd chanted in rhythm outside, one truth pressed gently against the edge of history. Was this a high point, or the start of a generation that finally leads itself? 1 year later, in a quiet community center in New Jersey, two women sat at a round table. No press, no microphones, just coffee, sunlight, and purpose. Karoline Leavitt scrolled through the latest data on her tablet. 5 million people reached. 81 cities. Countless lives changed. Across from her, Oprah Winfrey smiled warmly. "They're calling it the empowerment revolution," she said, sipping from a white mug. Karoline chuckled. "But you always called it a test." Oprah nodded. "And you passed." They both laughed. On the wall behind them hung a small framed quote from one of the first community graduates. "I didn't need saving. I needed a shot." Karoline slid a gift box across the table. Inside, a bronze community emblem, the same one given to every program graduate. This one had Oprah's initials engraved on the base. "For the woman who asked the hard question," Karoline said. Oprah's eyes welled slightly. She ran her thumb over the carving. "You didn't answer with words," she whispered. You answered with change. Outside the window, two teenage girls were giving a workshop to elderly women on digital tools. One of them pointed to the sign on the wall. "Empowerment is contagious." Oprah leaned back. "One day we'll be forgotten." Karoline smiled. "But the wave won't. Now it's your turn. What will you do to pass the test and help someone rise? Drop your answer in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe power belongs in the hands of the people.